Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Turtle Up. I'm Dustin Holmes, your host, and throughout this podcast, you're going to be learning all things about Turtle Up, sea turtles, and sea turtle conservation. Now, you may be asking, who is this guy? How is he qualified to talk to me about turtles? And why should I even care about turtle conservation in the first place? While I may be no doctor in sea turtle conservation, I am studying environmental biology here at the University of Dayton. And over the summer, I did research on sea turtles in Mexico, studying female sea turtle nesting habits and where they would nest on beaches. As for why sea turtle conservation is important, there's many ecological reasons why conserving sea turtles is important, but we can go into those in a separate episode. Right now, I'll just leave you with this. Sea turtles have been around for millions of years, much longer than any human, and while they have persevered through many challenges, there's a chance that they won't be around for much longer, and that's because of us. Because of things like overfishing and plastic waste in the oceans, sea turtle numbers have plummeted. Their population has dropped 40% in just the past 3 generations, and all 7 species are threatened. We shouldn't be okay with this no matter what species it is. Sea turtles, along with thousands of other species, have been affected by us, and it is our responsibility, due to the power that we hold, to ensure that our mistakes don't lead to their extinction. They were here long before us, and we should show them the respect they deserve. We're not the only ones on this planet, we share it. And that's why we should care. Not because they give something to us, but because we all call this blue marble floating in space our home. This is at the core of Turtle Up's approach towards conservation. They want to help and educate the people of Ghana on how to live in harmony with the sea turtles so that both communities and the sea turtle population can thrive. The founder of this organization, Corinne Brion, is committed to this goal and is doing everything she can to educate people on Ghana and the challenges that they face. And to give you some more insight on what this organization is all about, we are joined today by Corinne herself. So, Corinne, could you tell the listeners a little bit more about your story and why you founded Turtle Up?
Sure. So I have to go back a little bit. So I'm Corinne, and I'm originally from France, moved to the States a few years ago, and had the pleasure during my doctoral studies to work for 6 years in Ghana. During that time, I not only fell in love with the country and its people, but I also found my husband. And then that made me a Ghanaian per the culture. And through that, and having family in Ghana and visiting all the time, doing research there all the time, I found out that my own community has a lot of sea turtles and that the largest sea turtle hatchery is in my community. So for years, I've been thinking of, okay, I'm fairly creative, I hope, but for years I've been thinking about how can we help those creatures that are amazing, and I totally love them, and also help the people that I can see on the beach poaching. Like, to me, there's something to do there that is not the planet or the people, it's the planet and the people. And the planet for us at Turtle Up is the sea turtles, because they contribute so much to our ecosystems on land and in the ocean. So once I focused on my tenure when I arrived at UD for the past 5.5 years. And then when I felt that, okay, I think I'm closer to getting tenured, which is just last year in 2023, I started to really think about what might that look like, that idea of connecting people and planet and having a sustainable model that can take care of itself. And so I applied for the flyer pitch competition here at UD, and through their mentorship and many different people that I conversed with, I ended up in the final. And so that really propelled me to then, okay, it's time. It's an idea that's now becoming more and more of a reality. And so that's where we are now. We got our 501c3 status in April 23, and we're flying.
So one thing that I want to ask, what makes Ghana, obviously you have a very deep personal connection to it, but what makes Ghana as a sea turtle conservation area special as compared to, say, a beach in Mexico, like the Yucatan Peninsula?
Yes. So, number one, like you said, that's my country of choice, and I have roots there, and I also have a lot of contacts because I spent 6 years working in Ghana. And so there's some of the best marine biologists at the University of Ghana. In terms of Ghana and sea turtles proper, there are three main species that come to the shore all the time. And Ghana is 520 kilometers offshore of coastline, at least. So opportunities for lots of turtles to come.
And what are those three species?
So they are the green turtle, the olive ridley. Those are the most, and then some leatherbacks.
And leatherbacks are the really big ones.
They are amazing. We've also seen some oxbill, but that's more rare in those waters. And so what makes Turtle Up unique is that there is no sea turtle conservation operated in Ghana other than from the local, which is of course the best way. And that's why we always say we work with local. We're not there to say we do it this way, they know best. But there's no overarching organization that can help, can support, can learn with the locals.
So that's sort of the organization's main goal, is to be that organization.
That's
in
correct.
the area.
That's correct.
And how are you going about achieving that goal of like working with the community? What things are you doing with the community and working with them to change their opinion on sea turtles and get them knowledge on sea turtles and how to help them?
Yeah, that's great. So in my own community, like I said, there's the largest sea turtle hatchery there, and it's located in a hotel. So it's quite convenient for us to bring people around and learn about sea turtles and their habitats and having hands-on experiences with the community. We're also seeking and in the midst of finishing a partnership memorandum of understanding with another organization that's on the ground in Ghana in a different coastal community. And so there we are not only educating in schools, Turtle Up is creating curriculum for school kids, any age, also for community members, any age. And the national language is English, but we also have, of course, local dialects. And so that's our education piece. We also have a recycling center. So we, in collaboration with another partner, have a recycling center in Kokobrite, Ghana, which means that we can pay locals to clean the beach, and they bring their plastic, so it helps the turtle. It helps them because it gives them money. And we are right now in the planning of making that recycling center also an educational hub. So how can we have a kiosk with a computer in it where people can play, whether they're literate or not, and learn about turtle, learn about plastic, learn about turtle and plastic, the impact of people on turtle, and also what turtles contribute to our ecosystems, so that they can see if I poach a turtle, I'm actually hurting myself.
Mm-hmm. And could you go a little bit more in depth into what the conflict is between the sea turtles and the communities in Ghana?
Sure. And I will say that it's not just in Ghana. I have colleagues doing very successfully this very same work, similar model, providing jobs and education so that they don't poach and they become sea turtle advocates. Rather, the community does. It's really all around the world. And so when people don't have enough to feed themselves, they don't want, at least in Ghana, they don't want to poach the turtle because there's a lot of folk tales that says this. Once upon a time, the fishermen were at sea and their boat
capsized.
That's right. And the fishermen were in the sea, and the sea turtles brought them back to shore. So actually, in Ghana, like in a lot of other countries, there's laws preventing poaching, capturing, taking the eggs. However, it's very hard to enforce. And like I said, the locals don't want to do it. But if you don't have a choice because you're a fisherman and there's more microplastics in the sea than fish, and there's illegal fishing and pollution, at the end of the day, what do you eat? And so they see in Ghana, I met with poachers, they see a turtle, with the CD sign on it, which is the local currency. For a turtle meat and the shell, they ask for less than $4. So to put it in perspective, I think we can do better than that. So I hope that answered that question.
So what are some things that people here in the States or even in Ohio can do to help with your organization and then in the bigger picture, sea turtle conservation in general?
Right. So let's go to Turtle Up. So turtleup.org is always looking for board members or volunteers that can assist us in different ways. We are really welcoming and very diverse board. We also always understand that we have limited knowledge, so each other's skill need to complement. And so if people have an interest, they can contact us via the website or social media. We also have different ways on the website to support us, whether it's financially or directly. So purchasing some products of us that, by the way, students make. They make our logo, they make our T-shirts, all of those things. But also donating to a particular cause. We are right now trying to fundraise for a sea turtle tracker that's specific to the olive ridley, which is the one we have most in Ghana and know very little about. And then other ways to support to our general fundraising. But again, board member, volunteer, and donating services or money, in-kind donations are most welcome as well. And generally, I think the other part of the question was generally on sea turtle conservation, taking care of our planet, taking care of our common home. And we can do that anywhere we are. I always say there's no planet B, and it's everyone's responsibility to repair the damage that we have done and make sure we don't do further damage. And so on our website, under education, we have some environmental tips. That can be simple things as use a reusable water bottle. Could be don't use straws because those straws are nasty. They go, even in Ohio, they're going to go in our river go in the ocean. So eventually it'll get to a turtle somehow. So around the holidays and things and birthday parties, don't use balloons because they confuse that for jellyfish, which is their favorite food. So that we have environmental tips, but I think it's just being more intent, whether it's personally, as an organization, as a corporation, as a business. Like, what do you do with all those plastics? Do you need that many plastics in your daily life?
And then another question I had more about the conservation approach that you guys take. You're very community-based. And while I feel like there's more organizations that are going for that community-based approach, it's not that popular right now. And why do you think that this community-based approach is the better way to go about conservation rather than like more classical methods where it's just like, setting up cages over the nests and cleaning up the beach, which you do, but actually working with the locals? Why do you think that's so important?
Well, because they have the local knowledge. They're the experts in their area, and we don't want to disrupt that. In fact, we want to learn from them. That's the only way to do any kind of collaboration. So they actually educate us. They know their beach the best. They know the timing of people coming to poach. They know the poachers in many cases. They grew up with the poachers. So they are the one that can most influentially talk to the poacher, educate the poacher. But where we come in is perhaps when they need the curriculum, or they need the activity, or we pay them to patrol the beach. But there's already amazing things being done in Ghana. So, for example, in another community, there's a community member that has his football team patrol the beach. And that's also how they raise a little money. And so we are here to support that, learn from them as well, and see what works best where we are.
So you talked about how the reason why there's poachers of the sea turtles is because there's not enough food, or they're not able to get enough food for their communities. What methods are Turtle Up using to like address the food shortage? Are you guys like helping them with farming or fishing, or providing them with financial support? Like how are you preventing poaching through giving them the resources they need, or is that something you're doing?
So we recently talked about that, actually. So we, number one, we educate them, and we hope to provide more and more jobs. And there's different ways of doing that while being environmentally conscious and preserve our common home. So providing jobs like beach cleanup at the recycling center, but also Turtle Up Ghana will be run by all Ghanaians, of course. And then we also offer eco trips. And so when you have ecotourists going, they also need to eat. They also need a tour guide. They don't need to, but I can assure you they will buy souvenirs, because those are amazing what Ghanaian produce. And so that also bring revenue to a family and a whole community, really. We also are in the process of, at that very recycling center I mentioned, there's so many more things we can do in terms of jobs. So instead of just collecting plastic, we can collect glass bottle. It's coastal community, so there's many hotels. And so make sure we get all the bottles. And from that, there is training we can offer on how women in particular can make jewelry out of glass bead. And so that's in the process. And that's another way of promoting the culture, but also selling their beautiful jewelry pieces to the world on our website, to our ecotourists, and anything like that. So we also talked about, instead of eating a turtle, we can provide them with a chicken, because chicken meat is very expensive in Ghana, and chicken lay eggs. So there's like two sources of protein in one. And so we're just thinking about that chicken piece right now, because you don't want to move too quickly, and you certainly need to move with the community.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I would like to just mention for the listeners right now, Turtle Up is a very new organization. It was founded in 2023, so it's very recent. They haven't been around for more than a year, right? Yeah. So we're almost to the year anniversary, but very new, but very exciting. And there's a lot of exciting things that are in the works. As a more fun question, I suppose, what's your favorite sea turtle?
Yeah, I think because of the olive ridley coming the most, it's them. But I'm fascinated by the leatherback, just because when it takes several humans to push it to the...
They really are massive, aren't they?
Have you seen them?
Yeah, I haven't seen one in person, but I've seen pictures. I mean, it's like half the height of a human when it's on a beach. Mm-hmm. And lengthwise, they probably get 10 feet long, maybe?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't do feet and things.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you all for listening to the very first episode of Turtle Up, and thank you, Corinne, for your wonderful insight into the organization.
Thank you, too.
If you, the listener, have any other questions about Turtle Up or for Corinne, please visit the Turtle Up website, www.turtleup.org, or visit the Instagram at turtleup_org. Before we go, I would like to end with something that's going to become a tradition here at the Turtle Up podcast. At the end of every episode, we will be ending with a turtle fact. So today's turtle fact, I'm going to go into some of my experience that I had in Mexico over this past summer. When female turtles go up onto the beach to nest, they'll crawl up onto the beach. They'll look around for maybe 10, 15 minutes for a good nest site. Once they find one, sometimes they don't even, and they'll just go back into the ocean. But once they find a nest site that they're satisfied with, they'll start digging. They'll dig for another 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then once they're ready to lay, when they actually start laying their eggs, they go into this sort of trance and like hypnosis type state where they don't react to anything around them. Now, we don't know if they can actually see what's going on around them, but regardless, they don't care. And during my time in Mexico, I actually had the experience of seeing this in person and getting to go up to the turtle when I saw this happen. So there was a couple nights, actually, I saw this multiple times, where we would go out. And when you go out looking for sea turtles, you don't want to use white lights because white lights really bother them. They don't like that. So we would go out with red lights, which don't bother them as much. They might still bother them a little bit, but it won't cause them to go back into the ocean. So we would go out with red lights and we'd look along the beach for sea turtles. And a couple nights we were fortunate enough to be able to find one. And when I say going out at night, I mean 12, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. at night. You got to go out pretty late in the evening or into the early morning to be able to see them. At least in Mexico, where I was at. So once we found one, we sat there and watched it for a little bit. And you can watch them dig. When they dig, their fins really push. I mean, it's a lot of sand. It's a shovel pushing onto the sand. And I mean, it flings like 10, 15 feet in opposite directions. We were actually getting hit by sand in some cases. And then once they're done digging, you notice that they stop flinging the sand all around, and you kind of start to see their flippers contract. They kind of go up and down a little bit, back and forth, and then that's when they go into this egg laying, and that's when you can actually go up to them. So I had the opportunity to be able to go up to these sea turtles, and I mean, they're not small turtles. They aren't your little box turtle that you found in your backyard or the red-eared slider you see at the local pond. I mean, they are half the size of you, if not bigger, depending on the species. So you get up to this massive animal, and it just doesn't care. It's just sitting right there. All that mother cares about is getting her eggs in that nest and covering them up so that she can carry on that legacy. And it really is, seeing it in person is truly an amazing experience, and I wish everybody could have an experience like that. And if you have the opportunity to, please take that opportunity to see that in person. I don't want to overplay it, but I would say to an extent it can be life-changing. And I think that's something that everybody should experience and needs to experience if they really want to be able to be a good conservationist. You have to have those one-on-one experiences to actually see the animal doing its thing, because it's really, truly incredible. Incredible experiences like that are also something being offered by Turtle Up. They're actually offering these eco trips that you can go to Ghana on the beaches themselves. And just like I was just saying, you can actually see the turtles themselves doing this, and you can help them. You can help clean up the beach and work with the community members there yourself. And I really think that that is an experience that everybody should have. Even if you don't really care that much about sea turtles now, you would after you had that experience. And I think it's really important for people to do that. I would like to end today. I hope you all enjoyed listening to the first episode of the podcast. I know I had a lot of fun recording this. Corinne had a great time. We're really excited about everything that Turtle Up has accomplished and is going to look forward to doing in the future. There's a lot of big ideas, a lot of things planned, and we're really excited for the future. Thank you all.